What are we doing?
We're leading Mr. Boggs to the red shed so he can stay out of the snow.
Who's Mr. Boggs?
My horse.
You got a horse?
Yeah.
From who?
Grammy and Poppy.
Do you like having a horse? How old is he?
30. We're pretty excited to where we're going.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trinity Dairy. Don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out our merch store. We'll have a link in the description for that. Today is December 24th, 2022, or Christmas Eve. I want to wish everybody out there a Merry and Blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year. I don't know if this video will be coming out before Christmas or not, and we may have some more coming out before the new year, but just in case, I thought I'd get it out there. It's cold today. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I think it's still 2 below. The sun is out. That helps. We're still kind of in the middle. It was windy yesterday. It's supposed to be windy today. Not as windy as they were forecasting for us anyway. They were saying like 20-25 with gusts up to 40 miles an hour. I don't think we've gotten anywhere near 40 miles an hour. But there's just kind of a constant. You'll get a gust sometime, and then you'll see the trees, they're still heavy with snow on the top, so they'll get kind of whipping around a little bit. But so far I don't think any more have really broken off. Some of the oak trees have actually cleaned off, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I'm thankful of that. So far we haven't lost power, so that's been nice, because with this cold temperatures like this and the wind and stuff, you really don't want to be without heat. I did have my generator ready to go just in case, so we could at least run the furnace. But so anyway, we're gonna go get some outside chores done here. The cows in the barn, I got to give them hay yet. I've been leaving them in the barn just because this cold and wind, there's really no sense for them to be out. It's supposed to be, I think, tomorrow like a high of 12 above, and then actually like in 3 or 4 days they're talking 37 and rain. So they'll have plenty of opportunity to get outside. They're doing good in there. I'll probably get a little video in there. I got to give them some hay yet. Their diet's been getting kind of messed around a little. I had been giving them like my homemade TMR, I guess I call it. I got that chopper box, and I'd been mixing, chopping the hay and silage and stuff. But with this real cold, I haven't been starting a bale chopper or wanting to run that wagon, so I've just been giving them straight silage. Last night I didn't even give them silage. They just got hay because it was so windy out here. I got to feed the silage. I got it from the bag, pile it out in front of the barn, and it was just too nasty to have the barn door open and stuff. So they get hay and grain inside regardless. But cold weather, you got to kind of do what you got to do. But anyway, we're gonna go check on these. I got to get my water tank opened up here. I've got a 300-gallon water tank in this wooden box. That's for our dry cows and heifers, and then we got the heifer and the horse in this corral right now. And I've got a wood-fired tank heater in here, and the thing actually works really well. The only issue I've had, it kind of got away from me a little bit in this really cold weather. I don't run it constantly. If I run it constantly, it would just be full of ashes in no time. So usually what I'll do is run it in the morning and then again at night, and that keeps it pretty well open. It'll get iced over on the top. You break it open and it's good to go. But now there was a couple days I didn't run it. I just kind of let the cows drink the tank down, and the ice has kind of gotten built up on me. So I got to open up this tank, and then I'll get that that heater fired up again and get that going. And then I got another tank up by our hay shed for our heifers in that grove. I have a propane fired one in there. That one I haven't used for a long time. I got it going this year, and it works really good. It gets a little bit expensive when propane's high, but I mean, it'll thaw out a whole tank. But the only issue I'm having with it is I've got to kind of run it like I do this wood one. I'll turn it on and let it run and let it thaw the tank out. Then I shut it off because the thermostat on it's not working, so it won't shut off when it warms up. It'll just keep burning. So I got to go light that one and let it thaw that tank out. And I might wind up this wood one. It's good for maintaining. It's, if the tank gets away from you, you got to maybe do something else to thaw it out. So I might bring that propane one up here. We'll see. But I'm gonna get this opened up now. There's water down in the bottom because I filled the tank last night just in case we'd run out of power. So I'm gonna get that opened back up so they can drink anyway. And then we'll come back once I get up there to thaw that, get that other one, that propane one, fired up. All right, I got this one chipped open here now. I got some water there so they can drink again. And then this is my wood-fired one here. So it's got a chimney, and then it's got an air intake here. Put your wood in here, get a fire going. And the thing is, like with this thing, it works really good. When it gets really cold like this, especially where this tank is, I put this here now, kind of a white board I had. This tank, the wind blows across here. Even when I had an electric heater in here, days like this, it would still freeze over. So this tank has issues like that sometimes, just with where it sits with the wind. But this thing will, like I said, it was partially my fault because this ice kind of got away from me in here. But we get some of this warmer weather coming now. If I run this for a while, it'll thaw the tank out nice. It doesn't have to be super warm. But the main thing is that the cattle got water, and I always make sure they get their water to drink. And then when it comes out of the barn, it's a little bit warmer in there, so that helps too. So now I'll probably turn the water on here, so this will run, let them fill up with what they need. I'm gonna get this heater going. Another issue with this heater, I bought this one used. If I was gonna make one, at least for this tank, I'd probably make it a little bit shorter, because even when this tank is full of water, there's still a few inches of this heater that are not in the water. So you got some wasted heat there. I suppose it was probably made for a deeper tank, but it works good. You just gotta kind of manage it. You know, it's not like the electric one where you just plug it in and leave it. But I went through so many of them electric heaters because I don't have a plug-in over there, so I'd have to run a cord, and you're not supposed to run them on a cord, and I had trouble. The ends would burn off, and it seemed like the last one I bought was like $70, and it didn't even make the winter. So if I got to chip a little bit of ice or whatever, good enough. I'm going to run in here and get my matches so I can get these heaters lit up and get the water thawing. Here we are. This is my propane one. It's just got, you can't see underneath the ice, but it's the blue tube, and then there's a little triangle shaped tube that kind of goes over into the water, and there's a burner that sits down there, and I just run it on a 100-pound cylinder. And this thing is really, I really like this. It gets a little bit expensive to run now just because propane's kind of high. I think this 100-pounder was about 90 bucks. It's been a few years since I ran this because I had to get a pilot assembly for it, and I wasn't really sure where to find one. I finally did find a place that has parts for these, that sells them. But so I don't remember last time I used it, the thermostat and everything worked. I can't remember if it would go about a month on one of them. I don't remember for sure, and I don't know how it's going to do now the way I'm running it. Might be more efficient, might be less efficient. Like yesterday I fired this up, this tank was froze over, and I actually hadn't run it the day before. The ice wasn't bad, I just popped it open, and so anyway, it had a lot more ice in it. So I left it run. When I come later and shut it off, the whole tank, there was no ice. It thawed the whole thing out. So it's very, very powerful, puts out a lot of heat. But anyway, we'll get this lit up here, and then I got to get some firewood up for that other one and get that going. It's just got a pilot light on it, and your burner is right here. But there must be something going on with this, because this is supposed to check your temperature, or keep an eye on your temperature, I guess, or whatever. So when it gets certain setting, then it'll shut off, but automatically, so you can leave it lit. But that hasn't been working So I don't really know. I haven't looked into that anymore. I just been running it like this, and it's been working pretty good. But drop it down inside of there. Turn the burner on. And there she goes. And they still do make these. I did find a place, I think it was in Iowa, that sells them yet, but I think this was like $1,500 to buy a whole brand new unit. It wasn't cheap, I know that. And I don't know, my grandpa bought this. I think he bought it brand new, but it was many years ago. I don't know no idea what he even paid for it. But so as long as we're here, I'll take my bar, pop the ice open. There isn't even much ice on the tank now. Shut this off last night, let it sit. I probably should haul some more water up here because it's getting close to the top of that heat box down there. We'll get the other one going first. There we go. It'll be broke open. That'll melt out. I'll probably, like I said, I'll dump some more water in there later, but I'll get some wood cut up or brought up, and we'll get that other one going. All right, we're out at the wood-fired one again here now. I got a fire going in there. And what I use, I got some chunked up oak here, and I also got some real dry pine boards that I chunked up. The cattle all came up here, got their drink. They're back off eating now. I got some water coming in out of the barn. Here comes the heifer and the horse to come and drink. But I got a fire starting in there. Got the fire kind of going. So now what I do, sometimes it actually works really good. Just progresses things a little more. I got this DeWalt cordless wet dry vac. I use it in the barn for cleaning out the water cups for the cows. It actually works really good for that. But another feature I found out with it is the things around here a little bit. When you put it on the blowing end here, it fits right in the vent on here. So you can get a little forced air to kind of get your coal and stuff going a little bit faster. There we go. Nice fire in there. Now I don't leave this run full time. What I'll do is get it going. That'll help get a good coal bed in there. Then I can get the oak going in there and get some good coals in there. Really get that steel heated up, and that makes a big difference. I'm gonna go shut the water off here, because even when it's a little warmer out, you know, I'll start that in the morning and get a good fire going in there, fill it up with wood, and just leave it burn out. And a lot of times it'll take the ice right off the tank as it sits for the day and kind of cools down. So I'll shut this off, and we'll go out and add some wood to the fire. And then the cows in the barn, they've got water cups. They got water full time when they're in the barn. And these ones out here, they pretty much do too. You know, you get these days like this, even when I have my electric heater in here, this will freeze over. You got to come and open it up. I even have a heated water bowl up in the heifer barn up on top of the hill. And if the wind is just right and that barn's closed up, that will occasionally freeze. So in these kind of climates like this, you can't always have just open water 24 hours a day. That's just how it works, but we do the best we can. My grandpa, you know, back in the day, he said they used to walk down and chip a hole in the pond every day for the cows to come and drink. And these cows out here, you know, they're not milking or anything, so they're not using the amount of water like the cows in the barn that are milking do. They only come up about twice a day for water anyway. If you watch them, they'll come up, they'll all drink, and they'll be gone for the day. They'll go eat, they'll go bed down, and later in the day they'll come back up and drink again, and that's about it. So we do the best we can. That's all you can do. Yeah, we got some good coals going in there now. Fogs up my lens a little bit there. Oh, here comes another one. Trying not to let my camera blow into the water tank because I don't have anything metal here to hook it to. You can see around there, it's already starting to heat that up. But here's what I'm talking about here. And this tank, it would help if I re-leveled this tank, but I can't do it in the winter. But that side's a little lower. But see, I got, you know, there's a foot of heater here that's not in the water. So if I was going to make another one, I think I'd maybe make it a little bit lower, a little bit bigger around, or get a deeper tank to put this in. Just because you do have some wasted heat there. But so we'll let this go for a little while. I'll probably shut this forced air off, and once I get some coals going, and we'll let it heat up. And I'm gonna go get some hay down and feed the cows. Okay, we're in the barn here now. I got hay down. Mangers are all swept up so we can feed hay. This is these are some of the small squares I'm just feeding. This is that orchard grass. If you watched our last baling video this fall, this was baled really late after it froze. This is pretty much all orchard grass. The alfalfa had froze and kind of just died off, but the orchard grass, I really like orchard grass. It's a good hay. It dries good. It's got good value to it. I mean, I have nothing against alfalfa, but for small squares, I really like the orchard grass. It grows back fast. You know, you'll have a windrow sitting a couple days in the summertime, and the new growth is already coming up through it. So I've always planted it with alfalfa because they do really well together. But I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about just planting some fields, just basically straight orchard grass, just for square baling, and leave my, you know, alfalfa clover fields to wrap, or got the bagger now, I could chop it and bag it too. But anyway, we'll get this put out. The cows are drooling at me, so get them fed. There we go, got them fed. Now they're good to go. You know, I was telling Jen this morning when we come down for milking, you know, it was cold. We come down about 4:30. It was cold, the wind was blowing and stuff, and told her just, you know, it's so peaceful to come into a barn like this, these old stall barns. It's warm in here. You know, the cows are all bedded down, straw under them, they got hay up in front of them. It's kind of like a, you know, shelter from the storm, just real peaceful. I've always thought that was kind of a nice thing, you know. Somebody commented on one of our early videos when we started that I had talked about that a little bit, and they said that, I think it was their dad or their grandpa always had a saying that the barn was alive from within. And that's really true. You know, these old barns, I'm so proud, so happy, I guess, proud to be able to use this barn for what it was built for. I mean, and I applaud people who take these old barns, if they're not farming anymore, but they take the money and the time to fix them up and keep them in good condition. But there's really something different about that to a barn that's still got cows in it. That's, you know, it's almost like a living, breathing thing, it seems like. It's always something that's kind of been special to me. There's just a certain feeling about walking into a barn like this that's full of cows and you know, just relaxed and peaceful. And that's something that a lot of people, and probably even a lot of farmers my age today, that have no idea what that feels like. You know, they've grown up on a farm, but they've probably never had a barn like this. You know, it's kind of a rare thing today. But and it's something that really should be experienced by everyone, in my opinion. But anyway, enough of that little chat there. We'll go out and check our wood heater, and then I'm gonna run up and just check that propane one that might be thawed out by now so I can shut it off. I got my plastic wind guard back up here. Hey Dorothy, coming up for a little drink? There's some coals down in there now. You can't see it, but I'll probably throw a little bit more wood in there, and we'll go up and check on the other one. With this wind blowing across here, it's going to be hard for this thing to keep up. I know that. It's just the way it is. But once we get into next week, it gets to be 37 degrees, and I get a fire going in here and a little bit of 40-degree water coming in from the barn. It'll thaw right out. So anyway, I'm gonna throw some wood in here and I'll go up, we'll check that other one. I was just thinking too, another thing that would probably help me out here is have a piece of styrofoam or something to kind of sit over the top of this when the cattle aren't drinking. You just have to keep it away from the heater, but that kind of helped that heat stay in there and thaw it out too. I might have to see if I got a piece stick on there for a while and keep the wind off it. That's just an idea. If you guys got any other tips or tricks, I know somebody had said that they used to throw a 5-gallon bucket of hot water in the tank every time they filled it. That helped a lot too, and I probably should do that. I was doing that last year and it did seem to work, but I just haven't done it this year because it had been staying open pretty good. We had been pretty warm until now. But so if you got any tips, tricks, or whatever, just leave her in the comments. Okay, got the camera charged up and went in and warmed up a little. Got our water barrel filling for those heifers. I just got a 55-gallon open top barrel. I don't fill it completely full, otherwise it splashes all over, but that works pretty well when you don't have a huge amount to water. But I've got this wood burning one. I've been just out here all day. I walk by it, I throw 2-3 chunks of wood in it, and it's actually doing a nice job. It's really thawing out. There's some ice there, and I mean there's ice down below yet, but just steam coming off the water. It's really doing nice. It's melted, I don't know if you can see around the heater down there, that kind of black ring, probably 1.5 to 2 inches away from there. So I'm just gonna kind of keep doing that as the day goes, throw in a couple chunks and let it go, let it keep thawing. Don't cost me nothing. So we're up here at the propane one now. I had it running, I shut it off just because here's that burner tube that sticks out the bottom, and that was sticking out of the water, so it doesn't heat as well when that's sticking out and stuff. So I'll dump this barrel of water in there now, and then I'll turn it back on and it'll thaw, should thaw right out. Use when I put water in here, I fill this out of the milk house. I always run warm water too. That helps take some load off that heater. So now we're gonna go buzz up a little bit of firewood and stuff. This video is getting long enough anyway, so we'll save some of that for another video. But we'll probably come back a little later and check on that wood burning one. Coming to this wood burning heater here, it's still going. I'm gonna throw a little more wood in it. It's made some pretty good progress. But one thing I've decided to try here, because my water in the milk house is heated by my wood boiler primarily, so I can hook that hose up to fill this tank. So I'm running warm water in here out of the milk house, plus I have the fire going with the heater, so I think that'll help knock this ice out a lot better. It's pretty easy for me to do. So I've actually had the warm water running in here a little bit now and the heater going, and it's knocked a lot of that ice out already. So we'll fill the tank up and with this warm water and see how that goes. Well, the tank's just about full now, running that warm water in there with the heater going, and that's working really nice. I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but there's pretty much no ice left in this tank. It's all open. I can see all the way down to the bottom of the tank. There's just a little shelf of ice over there in the corner on the top, and I can see a little bit down here, that kind of that little white line as a spot, but otherwise the whole tank is perfectly thawed. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It's easy enough for me to do, and I mean, if you had a regular water heater, you know, it'd probably cost you a fortune to fill your tank with warm water every day, but with the one running off the wood boiler, it doesn't really cost me anything extra, a little extra firewood, but it's definitely the way to go, I think. So yeah, happy with that.